Shabbat Shalom. This week, we read Parshat Bereshit, starting back at the beginning of the Torah with creation. You might have heard that this is a special weekend for my family, a little bit of our own creation story. So I ask you to indulge me. Allow me to be a little loquacious, a little spiritual, a little parental. In the beginning, God creates and forms our world, separating, expanding, building. God begins to add to this beautiful earth, flying and crawling creatures, things that swarm, things that swim, all different living things fill the earth. And eventually, God creates human beings. Like all good creators, God molds these creations not truly knowing what they will become as they grow. God also guides Adam with specific instructions, including not to eat fruit from the tree of knowledge. Now, our modern eco-conscious mindset might assume that God wanted to ensure that this special tree would flourish, that the knowledge would grow unobstructed, undisturbed by human hands picking it. The protection, though, was not for the tree, but for the beings that God had created. God, Avinu, our parent, looks upon the delicate new creations and worries that they are not ready to discover the world beyond themselves, beyond Eden. What will the fruit of the tree of knowledge reveal to Adam and Eve? What unknown ideas might become known? What unimaginable things become imagined? We can sympathize with God's desire to protect Adam and Eve, having just created them, seeing their beauty and their fragility, and all the while knowing what lay beyond the sturdy walls of the garden. It's not hard to picture God telling these children to stay away from the tree of knowledge. They are too young, too pure, too simple to process what they will ingest from that fruit. They will lose their innocence, and their joyfulness will be overwhelmed. God wanted to keep Adam and Eve away from the tree, to keep them safe in the garden. Inside Eden, they would never have to confront our imperfect world and the evils it contains. However, as hard as we might try, we cannot protect our children forever. Adam and Eve eventually left Eden, the idyllic garden of safety, because they were never meant to stay there. They needed to see more, to experience the world for themselves. Adam and Eve wanted to test out their strengths and their weaknesses. These creations, these children of God, were poised and ready for what lies beyond the walls of Eden. So too, our own children will go out into the world, sometimes to far-flung remote places, and they will discover despair, danger, darkness. Eden is not forever. Complete protection is untenable, and we will fail as parents if this is our goal. Tonight, as we begin the Shabbat in which my daughter will become a bat mitzvah, an adult in the Jewish community, and the first Shabbat in 2 years that my bring them home dog hag does not hang quite as heavily from my neck and my heart, I am acutely aware of how much I wish we could have stayed in the Garden of Eden. I did not want you to see these evils, to know the hatred and the ugliness that exists in this world. There are conversations I've had with my children and with my students that have felt too big, too scary, and yet too important to leave unsaid. If only these words could have been delayed a day, a month, a few more years. Yet this week, we have also been overwhelmed by the kind of joy and relief that only comes from surviving. Protecting our children from the bitterness means also preventing them from experiencing the sweetness. Achievement is more fulfilling after hard work. Hugs are warmer and more comforting after absence. In bright moments, we realize that surviving becomes thriving only through perseverance. Thus, we take comfort in knowing that even when we leave the garden and discover all of the pitfalls of our world, there is hope. And there are other kinds of protections that can be just as powerful as brick, even if they are more porous. Our parsha this week points it out to us. Lo tov hayot hadam levado. It is not good for a person to be alone. Just as Adam and Eve have each other, we too go through life with helpmates, people around us who will stand by us, the greatest of which, our Jewish community. No Jew is ever without the comfort of community, without the safety of sanctuary. We have seen the strength of our people time and time again throughout history, and certainly over the past 2 years. Whether we are joined in prayer in the synagogue or rallying on the streets, the Jewish people come together and we support one another. We Jews are bolder and certainly stronger than the tiny fraction of our global percentage would imply. Even the smallest number of Jews can feel quite plentiful. Walking down a busy New York street, we often breathe a sigh of relief when we pass a sign of Jewish life, a person, a storefront, or even a Hebrew letter. Just a glimpse of someone in the world who is one of us serves as a reminder that while we may not be the majority anywhere, the Jewish community is present everywhere. And even when we fear we are a lone Jew in the world, we are actually never alone. If we pay attention to the still small voice and listen carefully, we realize that God is still with us. It was not only Adam and Eve who left the Garden of Eden, but God did as well. God did not simply wave goodbye as they wandered off. Rather, God too trekked out into the world and kept a watchful eye on those beautiful, inquisitive, stunning children. Even without the enclosure of Eden's walls, we have the embrace of the divine. No matter the dark tunnel we go down, no matter the sad reality we struggle to overcome, God is with us. And it is in the loneliest moments that God's embrace is the strongest. The story is told of a person who came before God at the end of their life. Together, they looked over the path of this person's life and noticed that at times there were 2 footprints and other times only 1. The person turned to God and asked, God, why did you leave me in those times, those challenging moments? I was left to walk alone. God smiled and replied, look more carefully at those footprints, my child. Those are my footprints, not yours. During those moments, I carried you so that you would not be alone, so that you had the energy to persevere. Even when you were not sure of my presence, I was always with you. So, on this Shabbat, I want to show you, my daughter, my Eden, the blessings that will help you live in this world rather than protect you from it. There will be times of despair, times you do not succeed, and times you wonder if there is anything other than darkness. But know that you will never be alone, no matter how isolated you feel. Our people our Torah, our God, are with you, standing in solidarity, shouting across fences on megaphones, and lifting you up even when you are chained to the ground. While we left the Garden of Eden and the safety of her perfection, the knowledge we took from that tree can strengthen us and guide us to make the world a better place. Ken Yehi Ratzon.